Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Zeri updated complete guide. So of course, as usual, you guys know the drill. Before we really get into it, don't forget to check out Zeri's basic guide. I put up in the cards above right now for her skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. But with that said, now let's get straight into it. So this build is basically copied off of the top player here. I thought it was a pretty interesting build. I tested it for myself, pretty nice. Let's see if we have the I don't have the old build, but if you guys remember, Zeri's old build used to be going for shield wall first item, and then into Runans, and then into Bloodthirster, and then you have IE as well as Molar Reminder, which is a fine build to go for. There's nothing wrong with that build, but I think this build is I don't know if it's better, but I think it's similar, but you guys will see what I'm talking about. So first up, you're going to start with the Gluttonous Greaves for the AD as well as the Omnivamp, and then this time we're going to start with the Bloodthirster for the huge amount of stats, the AD as well as the Physical Vampire. And then as usual, second item is going to be Runans, just so you can hit someone who's not the first target, using their Runans bolts. And then at this point, you have these three items, right? So here is the little bit awkward kind of thing, right? You don't want to go for IE as a third item because you at this point you only have 50% crit, right? So you're not getting a lot of value from IE, which is a very expensive item. You technically don't really want to go for Mole Reminder as a third item either, because at this point enemy teams are not that tanky, and Mole Reminder doesn't give you a lot of stats, right? But you also don't want to give the third item something to very quick blades, because this means you're going to push back Infinity Edge and Maul Reminder to the last two items, which on the other build you did that, but ideally you want to be going for these earlier. So the only kind of logical way to go about it is going for Maul Reminder third, and then IE fourth, and then NAVORI Quick Blades last. Now technically you could swap IE as well as Maul Reminder around, because at the same time IE gives you a lot of AD as well, but I decided to follow the top player and go for this way, and this worked out fine. Right, so the reason why you want NAVORI as the last item and no earlier is because Zeri does not really depend on her cooldowns a lot, right? NAVORI is really only to reduce the cooldown on her E, right? Her Q and W cooldown is already very short, or the W cooldown really is not that important. The Q cooldown is already very short, so the E cooldown is really the one you want to lower. So going for NAVORI last item is really just to target your E cooldown and to get your E cooldown more often. So the runes is the same setup. You go for Conquer just because you can stack up Conquer very easily just with your spells and your autos, and you do get a lot of extra AD and Omnivamp from Conquer. Also, you don't actually need so much attack speed, because Runans together with Alacrity is going to put you at the attack speed cap already, so you don't actually need any more attack speed. So you have Brutal, of course, just for the extra auto attack damage, Giant Slayer to counter the tanks, Alacrity just for the attack speed as I mentioned, as well as Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities. And then for the spells, you want to go with Flash, and then you can go with Ghost if you don't need Cleanse. So Ghost is the most optimal spell. Of course, go for Cleanse if you need it. Barrier and Exhaust are options as well. But with all that said, now let's move on to talking about our gameplay. Alright, so now moving on to the gameplay. Of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Of course, as usual, I will be sure to address them or drop a like. So we're playing the usual Zeri Yuumi combo. Of course, I believe Zeri is best played with Lulu probably number 1, Yuumi probably number 2, Milio probably number 3. Does of course work with tank supports as well, or any support to be very honest, but of course most optimally with enchanters who can scale with her very well. Right, so here we can see we're getting to a very aggressive early game trade. We have a full stacked Conqueror here, so we're trying to make use of that to kind of blast people. Now unfortunately here Yuumi tried to attach to Barrier, but did a second too late, so the Barrier ended up going onto herself after I died instead of going on to me. So that's kind of why I died there. Honestly, if the Yuumi Barrier had come through, we would have killed the Ezreal without dying, and that would have of course been the optimal kind of situation. Here Yone comes in for a random gank to get a free pickup on a Yuumi who has no owner. And here Senna of course is 1 HP and recalls, and now it's just me and Ezreal in lane. So the very important thing to note about Ezreal is to pay attention to what rune he has, right? So you guys saw from my Ezreal videos, you basically have Press the Attack Ezreal and you have Conqueror Ezreal, and it's quite a big difference between the two builds, right? So with Press the Attack Ezreal, he's very strong in lane, very aggressive in lane, but with Conqueror Ezreal, he does a lot less damage in lane, right? So you have to really take note of which one you're fighting, so that you kind of know how aggressive can you actually play. With Conquer Ezreal, you can be a little bit more aggressive, but with Press the Attack Ezreal, you cannot be as aggressive. Here, Jarvan, that was not even close. I'm not sure what he's doing here. I mean, at least he takes off some of the pressure from us, and allows us to kind of push the minions a little bit. But that was, yeah, that was ugly. That wasn't even close. So here, playing against Ezreal and Senna, it's basically a double poke lane, right? Because Senna does have her Q and her long range autos to poke, like what you see here. Ezreal, of course, is just a poke champion spamming his Q and stuff like that. So we're going to be taking a lot of damage in the lane. But you can see that we are a sustain lane, and in general, that counters poke lanes, because you can see Yuumi has a lot of sustain, right? She's going to heal me at every available opportunity, and I'm just going to be able to heal back off of the minions, and I'm gonna be a-okay, right? I'm completely fine. I've been healed up again and again and again, and yeah, I'm surviving just fine. So in this game, I decided not to take cleanse because there's really not that much CC on the enemy team. Let's look at what we have. We have Senna Root, you have Yone knock up on his Q3 and his ultimate, which you should be able to dodge, hopefully, and then you have Urgot's Flip, right? So if you get hit by Urgot's Flip, somehow I mean, even if you have cleanse, you're gonna be dying anyway. So Urgot's Flip is a non-factor. So basically, it's just Yone and Senna, not a lot of CC. So I chose not to go for the cleanse in this one. So yeah, so here now we've pushed out the wave, we're gonna get a reset. Now I'm not sure why they decided to reset before us, but even though they do have the lane advantage, they reset before us, which then allows us to push out and get a better reset, in the sense that we get better tempo. Although of course you can see Ezreal does have a decent goal lead against me, not judging, but stemming from that kill that he got, and also of course him and Senna relentlessly kind of poking me. The main thing is, we're definitely going to be outscaling Ezreal in the mid to late game, as long as we can survive early game without Giga feeding him. Of course, if he ends up with a couple of kills in lane, then the story's going to be a little bit different. But so long as we don't feed him in lane, it's going to be fine. Like, yes, we did give him a kill, but the goal lead right now is about 500, 600 or so. It's not too bad. Here, we're going to go in on Senna, flashing forward, getting the kill onto Senna. Now here, I'm trying to trade onto Ezreal as well, but Ezreal flash ultis in from the other side of the bush, and we don't get away from that in time, so we do end up going down. Now I have to say that a lot of times Yuumi and Zeri has a little bit of anti-synergy. When like Yuumi, for example, ults forward and then I flash over the Senna, that's kind of awkward, obviously. And here Yone comes in again for another gank and kills Yuumi. Both of Yone's kills came from Yuumi, which is a bit unfortunate. And I do find that in a lot of my games, sometimes when I play Yuumi with Zeri, you do fall behind a decent amount, right? But you just gotta remember, you scale insanely well, right? So now we're almost 1k gold behind the Ezreal, which is kind of what I was talking about that we did not want to do. Here, Senna is really, really squishy because she's building Letali, but she's doing a ton of damage here, right? So I'm trying to wait for the Grievous Wounds to fall off, take the fruit here, and see if we can go onto the Senna. Ezreal is now back though. So here it's kind of awkward because you can see that, yeah, you can see that we don't win the 2v2. So we kind of end up feeding Ezreal even further. Now Ezreal has 3 kills from us and is now more than 1k gold ahead of us, which is exactly what I said we should not be doing. And as long as we don't do that, we can easily outscale Ezreal. However, now we have actually done that, and we gotta try to get back into the game somehow. Right, so here, this is kind of the wall trick you can do to get back to lane faster. Now, I say it's a wall trick, but you have to remember your E has like a 20-second cooldown at this stage, and if you dash all the way there and the enemies are there, they know you have no dash because they've just seen you use it, and they might just engage on you and you might be in trouble, right? So only really do it if either number one, you want to go in on the enemy immediately, or number two, you know enemies are not there and you can just do that to get to lane faster, right? You don't want to waste your E getting to lane faster only to die, right? You're just dashing into your death. So that is definitely not what you want to be doing. So here, we eat an Ezreal out, just randomly fire, I guess to clear the wave, but Ezreal doesn't really do a lot of damage to the wave. Riot did nerf Ezreal's ult damage onto wave quite some time ago, so Ezreal's wave clear is really trash, which is one of the redeeming factors of the situation. So here we're just gonna farm it up. Now you can see Senna is in the mid lane. Ezreal is here to defend. So here the thing is that Ezreal is actually alone, right? But he has like a couple of items right now. So here I'm gonna back and get Bloodthirst, and if Ezreal remains alone, I do think we can easily fight him, because even though he is like more than 1k gold ahead, he's like about 1.5k gold ahead of us. He doesn't have his Mana Moon evolved yet, and he also doesn't have his Triforce yet. So here you can see we're going in on Ezreal. I'm gonna flash backwards so that Yuumi can get the root onto Ezreal, and we do pick up the kill there. And yeah, so as I mentioned, yeah, Ezreal, you cannot be doing that. Like you know, like you are ahead, but you cannot be 1v2ing a Yuumi Zeri, right? So here, now we're gonna go for some plays. So this is a little bit dangerous because we can't really see anybody, but at this point we're kind of so far behind. We need to take a little bit of risk to try to get back into the game. Definitely somebody's gonna be coming here to stop us here. Vladimir is now the one who's coming. Vladimir though is not a very big problem because at this point he has only one item. He's also 0 and 3. Vladimir needs to hit at least 2 to 3 items to really come online, so we're not overly scared of him. Now we can see Yone and Senna as well as Urgot down in the bottom lane, so we know it's only Ezreal who might show up here to rain on our parade, which is why we're not being too aggressive. But now we actually see Ezreal in the mid lane, so now we know Vladimir is alone, right? So we're not scared of him whatsoever. If he goes anywhere near us, we're going to engage on him. We can even see Urgot taking the Hex Gate to the other side of the map. Yone though is now coming towards this direction, so we do want to be a little bit cautious. Here we're just trading with the Vladimir, but we don't want to get into a very huge all-in because we know Yone is gonna come over, right? So here we're just trying to get the tower, which we do. And here Yone goes in with the ult, which we get hit by. Unfortunately, Yuumi healing coming in. Now we're trying to trade onto the Vladimir, but it doesn't quite work out. Barrier does come in, and it's getting to be a little bit dicey. If my Lux ult comes in, doesn't really matter here. We're going to take the fruit. Yone is chasing us. Ezreal though is on the other side of the wall here, getting chased by my team. Here I'm just going to go in with the ulti. Boom, we get the kill onto Ezreal. And then we reposition a little bit. Now we're running down both of them. We just need to get like at least one of them. Come on. So exhaust goes down onto the Vladimir to slow him down. And we're going to need to land our abilities. There we go. We land the W for the slow into the Q for the kill. And we essentially get a triple kill there. Shut down onto the Yone. And now we're completely back into the game. You can see off of that triple kill and off of the last chain of events, we get an entire Rune and Hurricane. And we're also now on par in terms of gold with the Ezreal. Ezreal though is on his 2-item power spike. So he is now at his peak power, right? Because Ezreal's strongest spike is at 2 items. Zeri's strongest spike is at like 3-4 items. So Ezreal is now at his peak power. Ezreal is a mid-game champion. So we do have to continue to farm it up and try to outscale him. Now once again he is alone. This time he knows he cannot be doing that. So he is actually running away. And yeah. So here we want to back off because we can kind of see like Yone and such roaming down, so we don't want to be there alone, right, and get ganked, right? So here Volley competing with us for the farm. So we'll just farm the jungle instead. This Jarvan kind of trash at the moment, so I'm just gonna be farming his red buff and his chickens. Basically he's gonna take all of his jungle and maintain our farm up. At this point, we are obviously the most fed member on our team at 9.6k gold in the game actually, but Ezreal is at 9.1k gold. He is the most fed member of his team, so it's kind of a question of which carry is going to carry the team, right? So Yuumi there trying to get some items, trying to get the veil. We're going to wait so we can take the gate together. Jarvan, by the way, is just standing behind the dragon, right? He's not even checking the dragon or anything like that. Enemy team picks up the dragon. Jarvan is still standing behind the dragon. He's not doing anything. Lux gets caught. Volibear gets caught. Lux and Volibear both die. Jarvan's still walking around behind the dragon. I'm not sure if he is AFK or like pissed off or whatnot, but he is still there waiting behind the dragon pit. In the meanwhile, I'm going to have to defend the mid lane inhibitor, which the enemy team is pushing in. He is pinging that he's on his way to behind the dragon. I'm really not sure what he's trying to do. Like, it's so confusing. What is he doing? Looks like he's going for a gank on mid lane. Doesn't look like it's going to work out though. Here I'm trying to defend against this Urgot. This Urgot is decently fed at 9k gold himself. He ults me kind of randomly. I think that must have been a misclick because he doesn't even attempt to go in on me. Now I have both summoner spells and ult up, so I'm ready for any fight. Also, I have a Yuumi strapped to my back, and Yuumi, of course, is really OP. Yone tries to go in, commits fully with the ulti. Vladimir now over the wall, we're just hitting. We have a full stack conquer, we're just hitting. Here we get rooted by the Senna, not too big of a deal. Vladimir goes down. He had already used his pool. Now over there in the top lane, we have Yone and Ezreal. Yeah, we're gonna go in out onto the Yone, easy kill onto Yone. Now we gotta kind of aim onto the Ezreal with the Zeri manual auto attacks, slow him down here a little bit. Just gonna run him down, and we do pick up the double kill. Just gonna continue on farming, and by continuing on farming, I mean farming the jungle, and trying to get to the Molar Reminder. I believe we have enough right now, so we're gonna back and get the Molar Reminder. Of course, anti-heal in general is kind of useful against this team, with the healing that they have, right? Ezreal also now on 3 items, so yeah, once again we're trying to out carry the Ezreal, which honestly at this point we should be outscaling him, so we should be completely fine. We also have a decent goal lead against him. Now Urgot hiding in the bush there. We're not overly afraid of him, just gonna farm the chickens. Fight is kind of breaking out here. Vladimir and Urgot kind of stepping up. Baron is in the area here, so whoever wins the fight probably is gonna get the Baron. Yone trying to go in onto the Skull Crab. I'm just gonna take the free leash. He appears to be quite afraid of me, so he's actually running away from me. And yeah, so both teams just posturing here. Jarvan is on low HP at the bot lane, by the way. I'm not sure what he's doing. Trying to hop the wall, see if we can get anything done. Yeah, Yone picks him off. And Volibear dies as well, dodging the Senna ulti. Doesn't look very good of a situation for us. Only myself, Yuumi, and Lux left alive. Senna is trying to run us down, but gets comboed instead. We're gonna try to go for it. We're trying to go for it to kill the Senna. And here you can see we get 2 kills, but once again, the Yuumi ulti is going in the wrong direction because we flash forward for the Senna, right? So that's really, really awkward, right? Ezreal, though, gets one shot by the Lux. Lux pops the stasis after Ezreal dies, which what's the point of that? But anyways, I believe what Lux was doing is she just threw all her spells in stasis so that if they don't hit, she's going to be in stasis anyway, and she's going to get back her cooldowns off of the stasis. So I kind of can see where she's going with that, but I think she needs to have a little bit more confidence in herself to actually land her spells. So a little bit of a waste of the stasis there, but I can see where she was going with that. So here I am 900 gold away from getting IE, so I'm not struggling, but I'm just looking for farm somewhere to get IE. Now thankfully there's a huge top wave that no one is attending to, so I'm going to hit over there as you can see and just one shot this huge top wave. Now I'm really, really close. I just need maybe this Gromp or maybe the blue buff as well, but I'm really, really close to getting the IE. So I'm going to farm up the wave, farm up this blue buff. And of course, we don't want to show on that wave because Baron is up, right? And the whole enemy team is kind of around the area, so we're gonna pick up the IE. Now we have four items. We're definitely on a spike now. We're definitely doing more damage than Ezreal in the fights here. So now we're gonna hit down to the bot lane. Ezreal is on the wrong side of the map, right? Making that classic mistake, right? But enemy team, of course, does have a soul win condition, which they are going for right now. Now I'm thinking let's go for the Baron. Now they're actually doing the Baron, which has surprised me. We're gonna hop into the Baron pit. We're gonna murder the Yone, who's the jungler. We're gonna steal the Baron, and yeah, we're just gonna keep going. A huge throw from the enemy team. Ezreal in the meantime is doing the dragon most likely because he was of course in the top lane. In the meantime, we're just going to murder Urgot. We go on a rampage. I believe that's a quadra kill, if I'm not mistaken. But the enemy team does get the Ice Dragon Soul. In the meanwhile, at the cost of Baron in their whole team, which is not a worth it trade in my opinion. So we're just gonna push all the way to the inhibitor. Here super aggressive onto the Ezra. I don't think we need to be this aggressive. Volibear dies. The next wave comes in. And yeah, that was pretty needless. I almost pick up the kill on Ezreal here, but not quite. Yone goes in again. And unfortunately, he doesn't go in on me, right? So no one is actually really hitting me. I flash out. Yeah, I'm just gonna murder everybody here. As long as I'm not getting focused, I can very easily just murder whoever I want. But if I am getting focused, it becomes a little bit more challenging. Now here we pick up NAVORI. Now we don't actually have any boot enchant yet, but now we're now full build, 100% crit, full 5 items, and of course this is peak power. We get the cooldown from NAVORI as well, of course, for especially for the E, but also I guess you could say it's useful for other spells as well. So now with the Baron, the only real logical course of action is to push the side lanes. So here we run into Yone and Urgot dashing away. I'm trying to get back the cooldown by proccing Navori here. Now here, Urgot ults me. I thought I was fine. Veil comes in from Yuumi. I honestly thought I was fine, but the execute threshold on the Urgot ulti comes through, and I was not fine. Like, if that was anybody that's not Urgot, that doesn't have that execute ulti, I would have been completely fine there, and I was really, really shocked that that killed me, but yeah, I guess that was my bad. Thankfully though, Lux picks up the kill onto Yone. Urgot is running from the hills, eats a ton of Lux spells, gets rooted, and Jarvan does no damage to the point that Lux can come over to the other side of the wall and pick up the kill onto the Urgot. Now Jarvan is not useful whatsoever. Right, so me and Yuumi are coming back up, thankfully before Elder Dragon. Now, ironically, this like kind of mini throw ends up actually becoming amazing, because you can see me and Yuumi are going to respawn before Elder Dragon is up. Urgot is not, and Yone is going to be late to the Elder, right? He's not going to be there on spawn of the Elder, so ironically this kind of throw is actually a win for my team, right? Here I'm waiting for Yuumi to come over so that we can run to Elder together. My whole team is now resetting, which now gives Yone time to make it to the Elder, because he's going to be leaving base at almost the same time as my team. So now there's obviously going to be a huge fight in Elder. Obviously Urgot's going to be late. So ideally we actually want to fight now before Urgot gets here. Volibear gets the message, but Lux and Jarvan, I'm not sure what they're doing. They're not following up, or not in position to follow up, if anything even happens. So here I'm getting zoned out, taking a lot of poke damage from Senna. Jarvan flashes away. Ezreal hits me, but the shield blocked everything from Yuumi. So here I'm trying to find the angle to do something, anything, charging up my Conqueror. Now here I'm going in right into the root, but doesn't matter because I'm in the middle of everybody. I pop the ulti and we do get the Elder. So now it's time to go in. We did flash out, but now we're running back in, which is pretty funny. We get the kill onto everybody, and yeah, simple matter of just running straight down mid to end the game. Just putting down a couple of wards for extra vision score. And there we go. That is going to be the end of the game. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.